What's going on, everybody? Andrew Thompson here of the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel. With me today is a former Ring of Honor World Television Champion, maybe, possibly soon to be your next Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Champion. We'll get into that a little bit later. He is the founder of Shane Taylor Promotions, Cleveland born and bred, 10-year plus veteran in wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Shane Taylor. Shane, what's going on, boss? How you feeling?
What's good, big dog? That's how you give an introduction, guys. Usually I gotta stop cats right away, be like, nope, do it over. You know what I mean? But that's how you give an introduction. Well done. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you see we starting off on the right foot, man. See the
Right. You know what I'm saying?
see,
Hell
see
yeah.
the last thing I need is to catch that right hook from Shane Taylor. That's what we do not need to happen.
I hit hard, bro.
The shame. I don't know if you remember this. Like, this was a while ago now, and especially because 2020 was seemed like the longest year of all time. Me and you did an interview in December of 2019, like a couple weeks before Final Battle, before you had your match with Dragon Lee. I don't know if you have any recollection of that, but I think it's safe to say that a lot has happened since December 2019 and where we are now,
Has
February 2021.
brother, has it ever? Think about it, right? If I win that match with Dragon Lee, it'd be safe to assume I'm still TV champion to this day,
Mm.
right? So you're talking about a run with a TV title that was already that people already feel was, one of the best, if not the best in the history of ROH. You add a whole nother year to that, nobody's touching me. But yeah, fast forward through the ridiculous year that was 2020, and here we are, more momentum than ever for myself, but more importantly, more momentum than ever for Shane Taylor Promotions. Khan, Moses, O'Shea, Edwards, Ron Hunt. We are doing exactly what we said that we were going to do, whether people in power like it or not. This is where we're at. And that's been shown by the fan vote that they put on the Ring of Honor on the Ring of Honor Facebook page, the Choose Your Honor, and the fans overwhelmingly chose me to be the number one contender for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Um, in my opinion, as thankful as I am for that, I don't think it needed a fan vote. I don't think it should have gotten to that point. I think from what I've done and from just my in-ring accomplishments, I was the number one contender. But to solidify it with the fan votes is great.
And of course, we can get into that the ROH World Championship match that you have coming up against ROH on the February 27th edition of ROH TV. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this your first like singles match for the ROH World Championship?
Yes, it is. First ever
Wow.
match for the Ring of Honor World Championship period.
Oh, for
Uh,
period. Okay.
right. And that's the crazy thing about it, right? Because people think that I'm just whiling by the stuff that I say, and I'm not. I simply truth. If I was anybody else with the credentials that I've had, with the performances that I've had, coming from any other company, they would have given me the world championship already for 3 years now. And people have had great moments in these last 3 years, but consistently for the last 3 years, I've been the guy in Ring of Honor.
Mm.
I've had matches, I've elevated the talent, I've been the one that people are talking about, whether they liked it or not. It's been me. So as far as I'm concerned, I've been the MVP. I've been the uncrowned king. And as far as the match goes with Roosh, now it's just time to make it official.
It's crazy because I think that once that match comes about, there's an opportunity for you to be, I want to say either the I want to say the third Black ROH World Champion in
Second,
history.
second.
Second Black ROH World Champion in history, and that's a hell of a feat. But at the same time, it's like one of those like damn, like really type of things. Like it's kind of insane to think that you would be the second, or could be the second Black ROH World Champion in history. And I know it kind of people harken back to oftentimes to Kofi Kingston's title win, and
Hmm.
it's of similar vein in terms of like just the lack of black champions, world
Hmm.
champions, I should say, it's always like one of those like mind you could use the term mind blowing, I guess, because like when I view it, like I think of stuff, I'm like, you can put the title on anybody, right? I think that's a, you can do it for anybody, but like there have been people, black performers, who have always risen to that next level and have always been considered the cream of the crop, but yet have not been awarded with the world championship. And that's one of those discussions that always frequently comes up when I'm talking with people about pro wrestling, black wrestling fans like myself. So yeah, I think that would be a very, very cool feat for you to be, in that bracket as far as the Black ROH World Champions and just ROH World Champions in history.
I mean, that's the goal. You know what I mean? I only three of us have held the Ring of Honor World TV title, myself, Jay Lethal, and Kenny King, and only Jay has reached the top of the mountain for the world title. That's why I make no bones about it. That when I say I'm only chasing two legacies in ROH, that's why. Because we're all here right now in our primes. Our careers are going to be compared. Like imagine if Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan all played in the same era,
Mm.
right? That's what this is, right? So I'm chasing them in real time. I can't be worried about the ghosts of Ring of Honor past. I can't be worried about legends past. I look at who's in front of me. I look at who's around me. And they are here right now. Those are the legacies that I'm chasing. I've already won the TV title, right? When I've been on one of the most impressive championship runs in Ring of Honor history with that championship. And then you follow that up with a singles victory over Kenny King to, to make sure he couldn't have that over me. And I've beaten Jay Lethal now in tag team action on two occasions, right?
Mm.
He holds a singles victory over me, but I've now pinned him more times than he's pinned me. Um, and so the only thing left to do now, in my opinion, is to give him company on the top of that mountain and go on one of the most impressive runs that anybody has ever had with the Ring of Honor World Championship. Because especially in this time, in this climate, in this era, not only in professional wrestling but in society, in the country, to have a prominent black male figure standing at the top of a professional wrestling company, not dancing around issues, not saying things without saying them, actually saying them, and standing by that. To me, that speaks to progress. That speaks to innovation. That speaks to a willingness to really make change. Anybody in any company can just say they want it, but you have to show that you really want to do it.
Right. Like, so we were talking a little bit about it before we started recording. But you got a big couple weeks coming up, man. Of course, they Ring of Honor's been doing. They put out the top Shane Taylor moments on their YouTube channel. You mentioned they're gonna be doing like a profile on you. I'm sure there's gonna be some write ups on the website, and then of course you got the ROH World. You got the ROH World Championship match, and then you got the 6-man tag team championship match with yourself, Moses, and Khan against the Mexa Bloods, Bandito, Ray Horace, and Flamita. For those of you who don't know, that match was originally supposed to take place at the Final Battle pay-per-view in December. So of course now we know that the match is still going to happen, but like prior to the announcement of the match happening this month being February, like to walk me through kind of what you felt as far as like I'm sure there was like maybe a bit of disappointment there that the championship match wasn't going to happen, and you have an opportunity to possibly win the titles with your guys on Ring of Honor's biggest show of the calendar year, and because of the COVID precautions that unfortunately got in the way. But like just walk me through that, and kind of that range of emotions to what you feeling now, knowing that the title match is happening.
I mean, it's essentially like you said. I promised Khan and Moses when I recruited them a little over a year ago that I was going to make them champions within a year. You're talking about guys who were in the ROH dojo system, just waiting for a chance, waiting for an opportunity, and nobody knew what to do with them. But right? So you go from that point, me selling them on a dream, on a plan, on asking simply for patience and loyalty, and to give me their very best. And a year later, touted as undoubtedly future Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. They will be, right? They are now looked at as future pillars of the company, which they will be. And the first step to that is winning the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championships, allowing them to taste that gold for the first time, know what it's like to go out there, win that. It was supposed to be their first pay-per-view. What better way to make your pay-per-view debut than Ring of Honor Final Battle? You
Man,
know,
yeah,
so this was what we had been working on. This is what we've been preparing for, what we've been game planning for, and to have it not happen, uh, of course, is disappointing. But we knew that it was going to happen. That's why we turned down Ring of Honor's offer for them to just hand us the championships, because, like I told them, this is not a charity. You're not handing us anything, right? Because you do that, and then there's always going to be an asterisk next to our accomplishments. I'm not having that.
hmm.
So Max's squad can keep the titles until they're healthy, until they're ready to go. And then when we challenge them for it, like people will see on February 20th, we're going to take them the way that it should be done, the right way. That way, there is nothing that nobody can say. There are no asterisks. There are no yeah buts. No, just Shane Taylor Promotions being the most dominant and the most cohesive group in Ring of Honor,
Hmm.
and we're going to prove that.
And of course, all of that is taking place in the taking place or has already taken place in the ROH bubble. Shay, I've heard plenty of stories from a couple of people in ROH about how they kept themselves occupied in the bubble. Like, what did you do to keep yourself occupied up in there?
Honestly, man, like it's you have to you just have to find a routine, right? So I would just do a lot of like Gotch Bible workouts. I would just watch TV or game or kind of just study tape. You know what I mean? Like you do whatever it is that you can to not think about the fact you're just in this room for a week. You know what I mean? And I liken it to like being in jail, but it's the nicest jail cell like ever. You know what I mean? Like, but uh, and ROH does a great job of following every possible protocol and rule to make sure everybody's safe and good to go. So you know, what I mean, those are just some of the things you got to deal with.
And one thing I really did want to talk to you about one individual that you recently brought in to Shane Taylor Promotions that I know you're very familiar with, Mr. O'Shea Edwards. I interviewed O'Shea a couple weeks back, and of course he spoke highly of you. He had his debut match on ROH TV with Sledge, and I think that went to a time limit draw. Like one thing that I remember specifically from that O'Shea interview that kind of stuck with me was when you initially approached him about the offer about Shane Taylor Promotions. You made sure, he said that you made sure to not present it as a thing of like, basically it was like, look, dude, I don't want you to think that this is a thing where you joining Shane Taylor Promotions is going to be a thing that means you automatically get signed to Ring of Honor, because that's not what that means. But it does mean that you are going to have people supporting you and backing you, and we're going to push you as much as we can to
Right.
possibly make that happen. And I was like, I just thought that was like some real cool shit right there. The fact that, because you know how most people like I mean, I'm not gonna say most people, but there are times when people kind of, they sell false dreams of what this could be and what could happen. But I think it was real, straight up of you to, just tell them like, look, just because you're going to be in this thing and Shane Taylor's from like the thing. I was talking to O'Shea about this too, and I'm get back on topic, but like it was kind of funny because we were talking about like how people think like Shane Taylor Promotions is like this ROH like faction thing, like that's like storyline, and I'm like, no, this is like a legit.
Really,
Yeah.
it's really not like, um, and I run Shane Taylor Promotions just like my crew of guys, right? The crew that I came up with, guys like Keith Lee, Ray Rowe, um, Jack Stain, Luke Hawks, guys that we bust our ass, right? And we are going to push each other to be the absolute very best that we can. And what we will do is try to use whatever methods we can to get you an opportunity somewhere, right? It is up to you to get there, show up, put the work in, show out, and then come back, right?
Mm.
All we can do is get you up to the plate. You still got to swing. You still got to hit. You still got to run. You know what I mean? And that's the way I run Shane Taylor Promotions. This is much bigger than simply just a group in ROH. This is a group that I want to take and expand to the independents internationally through different forms of sports, through different forms of entertainment. This is a group that is truly for the people, that is about pride, unity, and respect. Not only respect for yourself, but respect for your culture. You know what I mean? To not sell your soul and sell out the culture simply because you want to be the one that made it, right? Because what good is making it if you don't help anybody else make it behind you, right?
Right.
It's no good. It's like being on the top of the mountain by yourself. You didn't accomplish anything. Um, so that's when I sat down and talked to O'Shea, we, as well as everybody else in STP, we all have the same vision. We all have the same goals, right? And synergy on that team is important. Um, and I just made a post the other day, and the reason I am so excited about everybody in this group is because even though I'm the face of the company, I'm the captain of the team. Everybody on the team is better than me at something, whether it be social media, whether it be fitness, whether it be like Moses, who's got like a mathematics engineering degree. Like it's Ron with his idea creation. Like it's everybody's better than me at something. Um, and when you have that, you are constantly sharpening each other. You are constantly making each other better. And if we're making each other better, then the competition's got no chance.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So now that he has made his ROH debut, um, he showed up, showed out. He's got people talking, and I am sure that he will be back again. I'm sure they'll probably do a rematch with him and Sledge. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I can't wait to bring him into the fold. Um, Man, and with me, O'Shea, Edwards, Khan, Moses, there's nobody stopping us. Nobody.
Yeah, man. I think O'Shea, that's a real solid addition to the group. I think the first time I met O'Shea was at an independent promotion in DC back in, I want to say March. It was literally like 2 weeks or a week before the pandemic started, and I got to
Mm.
interview him in person. O'Shea's like legit one of the coolest dudes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people just cool as hell. Like, he was just one of those people who took the time to do the interview with me before his match, and it was real chill, man. So it was cool to see, like,
One of those guys
fast
that
forward a year later to see where he is now.
he's one of those guys that does all of his talking when he needs to, right? He's not a guy that has to go out and try to prove anything just by like talking to people. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the type of guys that put on the front like they're trying to be something. Like it's just not what he does. You know what I mean? That's what I enjoy so much. And in talks with him, just seeing the way he moved, the way he spoke, his ideas, it was extremely similar to my goals, my ideas, the things that I would say, right? So I knew that having him with us was going to be a perfect fit.
Mm.
Um, and I'm extremely excited to see what the future has for him because it's going to be bright.
So on top of the ROH World Title match, the 6-man tag title match, Shane Taylor, you are also in contention already for one of the top photos of 2021 with I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, the one with yourself, Fred Yehi, John Gresham, Eli Isom, Jay Lethal, of course yourself and the entire Shane Taylor promotion. I think Caprice Coleman was in there and Kenny King. Dude,
And
and Cheeseburger, can't forget Cheeseburger. Like that was,
famous CE,
yeah,
gotta respect.
world famous CB. There you go. I am gonna get. I know he officially changed the name, but yeah, man. Like I think that was one of the cooler photos. And of course, for me as a black man myself, it was just good seeing all of you guys together, seeing that representation in our ways. All you guys holding the fist up. I think that was just it was just a cool thing to look at. I saw that pop up on my timeline. I was like, damn, that's cool right there. I'm glad that they all got together and did that.
And that's awesome, man, because it's like that's what this is about, you know what I mean? And I think more than any championship, more than any amount of money, more than any match, that's going to be my legacy in Ring of Honor is um, because I'm a guy who is very unapologetic about my stance, about my views, about the things that I say, about the things that I do, the way I carry myself. So much, in fact, that I think it's allowed other people who maybe weren't as um, confident to say the things that they say. Like they thought the same things, they felt the same things, but didn't really want to say them, didn't really want to act on them. And I think that with me being here now, it's allowed them to feel as though, okay, if Shane can say it, if Shane can do it, and I know I at least have his support, then people find that confidence to use their platform and use their voice, and that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Inspiring others to be who they are and stand on their beliefs. So to be able to know that I've influenced that somehow in this incredible group of peers that I have um, is very, very humbling.
And going back into there are like quite a few factions in Ring of Honor, man. Of course, you have yourself and Shane Taylor Promotions. You got La Faction and Gobernables. You have the OG Kingdom. Like it's a couple groups in there, man. Like could you see any other people within Ring of Honor or maybe outside of Ring of Honor that could possibly fit within the mold of Shane Taylor Promotions? Like I see a guy like Fred Yehi, and I immediately think, he could either end up in the foundation. I think he'll be a good fit in there, or he can end up in Shane Taylor Promotions. Like I think of a guy like Calvin Tankman. I know he's in MLW right now, but like just for fantasy booking or drafting sakes, like I think that'd be a guy who would fit really well within either of those factions in ROH. Is there a name that you see that you could possibly see and be like, like maybe they could be they might be a solid addition to the group?
I mean, you name two right off the bat, but when you look at it, you talk about guys like Lee Moriarty, you talk about guys like Darius Lockhart, you talk about guys like, um, let's see, you mentioned Tankman, but you've also got Gia Scott, you've also got Trish, Shadora.
Mm-hmm.
They're absolutely killing it. Ronnie Nug, Nicole, Savannah Evans, Shug D. You know what I mean? Like there's so many people who are making their names out there and have that voice to speak up for themselves, to stand on a platform, to deliver a message, and do it in a way that uh, is informative and uh, to the point, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? Like I've said before, Shane Taylor Promotions is for everybody, but we're not for everybody. If that makes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, nah.
Because people the truth. People may not want to hear it, but we tell them the truth. The truth is sometimes difficult. The truth is sometimes uncomfortable, but the truth is the truth. Um, and we want everyone to be fans of ours. We want everyone to support us, but we also know who we are and who we represent. And we're going to do our very best to make sure that we represent in the right way.
So I think what you mentioned the last time that we did an interview was in December 2019. Man, I remember two specific matches that you had in 2019 that were just like chef's kiss, man. It was the one with Bandito at the Best in the World pay-per-view, and then it was another one that you had with Jeff Cobb that same year. And I don't know how you feel about those matches, but like I remember those matches specifically. Like I may not remember like exactly what happened bill to
Mm-hmm.
bill, like exact like specific spots, but like I remember it, and like I always think about stuff like that when I'm thinking about matches that I want to go back and watch. When I'm thinking about matches that were like really really great or really really good, like I always think like that those things happened a while ago, but it's like still in my brain. Like even kind of that diving off, I want to get into like what you think about those specific matches. But like I remember when people were asking me last year what was like my match of the year, and I was thinking about like it was this one match that kept sticking in my head, and it was from January, and I was like, I was wondering why I was thinking about this match all the way in December, and I was like, because it was really that damn good, and like still these 2 years later since those matches that you had with Bandito and Cobb, they're still kind of like fresh in my mind a little bit. So I was wondering if you had like any recollection of those matches, and like you know, of course you're proud of everything you do, but like I just think those matches were like really standout performances from you on the in ring front, because I really like those two matches, and they're still kind of fresh in my brain.
Yeah, man, I'm extremely proud of both of those. Actually, because there were two matches with Cobb, the match with Bandito, and then there's a match with Joe Hendry as well. Pretty much all the matches from my TV title run too. I'm extremely proud of.
Mm.
Um, but the matches with Cobb specifically, that actually started right. Like that run actually started with my match with Hangman Page
Mm.
before he. Um, and then the first match with Cobb happened. And at that point, you know, again, ROH really didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know what creative way, like what way to go in a creative sense. There was a lot of frustration, and for me, it was like I had something to prove, right? So I let that be known that I was on a mission to prove something that night. Cobb heard it, he understood it, and we went out there and we proved it. It got the world talking. It got the buzz going, and then those two matches, off of the strength of that, right? Um, that takes me into my match with Cobb again in Vegas, which was my very first pay per view after being with the company for like 4 years.
Mm.
So we have that, and then for the first time there was pressure. For the first time there was, okay, you've been talking all this shit, let's step up, right? And we did, and we absolutely tore it up. Um, and then I go on like a 6 week tour of England and the UK. I absolutely tore it up every single night there, and now the whole world is talking about Shane Taylor. Carry that into the TV title win, defend against Bandito, and we are off and rolling on on what people have said is one of the most impressive TV title runs of all time. Uh, and just think, you know, to cap it off with the match with Dragon Lee, if I win that match, it's safe to assume that I could arguably still be TV champion right now.
That's very true.
So you're talking, almost 2 years now of being a dominant TV champion, or at least, year and a half, close to 2 years. Um, but yeah, I'm extremely proud of the matches that you mentioned, of every match during that TV title run, because um, it wasn't like what's been done for other people, right? They didn't bring in international stars to elevate, me or anything like that, right? Like
Mm.
it was guys that were already here, guys that they wanted to showcase, and they got the chance to go in there with Shane T, right? And I elevated myself as well as elevating them, right? So that's matches with Bandito, matches with Chase Owens, matches with Eli Isom, matches with Joe Hendry, Tracy Williams, Flip Gordon, down and down and down the line, right? Just every single night proving myself, improving that I was ready for that challenge. And now at this point in my career, you fast forward, and I'm ready to be the Ring of Honor World Champion. I'm ready to step up to the plate, carry that pressure, carry that weight, and prove that I am exactly who I say I am. And that's the baddest of all time.
Shane, do you ever like sit back sometimes and like think about like everything that you've done professionally and like overcome in life in general, and like we all have hardships, but like everybody has their own individual story. Like if you ever sit back sometimes and just be like, damn, like I'm doing this thing right now, like I'm making it happen.
I have to be told to, honestly, right? Uh, because the way my mind works, I am so focused on always trying to go to the next thing and prove the next person wrong. And I have such a chip on my shoulder that I have to have people like Ray Road, like my wife, to go, hey, sit back, take today, realize what you just did, realize what you just accomplished, realize that how rare it is that you're doing these things, realize not who you think you are, because I'm always just going to be a kid from Cleveland, but realize what you possibly mean to other people,
Mm.
and understand that, right? And so usually that's when I sit back and take those moments to reflect, uh, and assess the things that I've done in my career. But um, then it's right back to work. You know what I mean? Because there's so much more that I want to accomplish, so much more that I want to do, so many more people that I want to inspire. And in order to do that, I've got to continue to to accomplish, to help my guys accomplish, and I got to continue to, keep doing it.
So I know you've been to Texas quite a few times. Done you know done,
That's
done, done some shows there. Like I was gonna ask you, like, did you have like any recollection of the Wrestle Circus promotion that used to be in Texas? Because that, like, I remember that used to be like one of my favorite independent promotions. And like I don't know why I like that promotion so, I think it was just like the amount.
different.
Yeah, it was different. It was just a variety of talent that they had there. Like it was so many different, like, it was just different, man. And I like remember that I was kind of
Version of PWG is what Wrestle Circus was.
mm,
The close fan interaction, the noise, all of that stuff. It was probably the closest thing comparable to it in Texas.
mm.
Uh, and with the talent there, you're talking about your Chris Heroes, your Ricochets, your Sammy Callahans, your GODs, your
Man,
PBKs. You know what I mean? Like everybody,
everybody was there.
everybody, right? Everybody was there. Um,
It changed. I ain't not to cut you off, but like it was crazy because all of y'all were there, like, and all of you guys were coming up. Like every one of you had already established yourselves, but it seemed like all of you guys were like on, like, kind of like on the up and up. Like, wow, that promotion was still going, and it's kind of crazy to see where some of you guys are now. But like just seeing, it's like you know what I'm trying to say. Like it's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what sometimes promotions can catch lightning in a bottle like that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? And to have that, it's just that perfect storm of talent, perfect storm of right place, right time, right situation, and it works. Hopefully, I want to say the people who owned it had like a child, and they were going through some stuff
Mm.
medically, but hopefully they're happy and healthy, and we'll see it come back at some point in the future.
Right.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Mm. And going back into Ring of Honor, man, just I'm pretty sure you've seen it just over the past month or so. Man, we've seen Jay Lethal, Kenny King, John Gresham, Mark Haskins, Bandito, Sumi Sakai, Bateman. So many other people have either re-upped or signed new deals with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor has been pushing these announcements like every week. They keeping me busy writing these things up. Like, could we possibly see Shane Taylor next up on that list of talents?
I mean, I signed a multi-year deal, I think in the beginning of, let's see, 2019,
Okay.
right? So 2019 went through 2020 went through. No, sorry, the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
So 2020, it was what he was, and I signed a multi-year deal with an option, right? So uh, this is the this is the last of that year, and then we'll have an option for a third.
Okay.
Uh, it's possible, anything is possible. One of the what I really want to make sure is that no matter what happens, that Shane Taylor Promotions remains a unit. So if I do go somewhere, I want to take them with me. Um, if I stay, then we're all there together. But the goal is to take this thing and make it our version of DX, our version of Bullet Club, our version of the NWO, and make it something that people can celebrate and historically compare to some of the greatest factions ever in the history of the sport. And I think we have the talent to do it. Um, so we'll see. There's a lot of time between that decision and right now. So we'll see. But that's the goal.
Right, and you mentioned that at the end. I think one thing that I really do like about Shane Taylor Promotions is fresh faces, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pretty sure you could easily ask a name who is in a let's say of a more prominent position. I guess is the right phrase to use. You could easily ask them to like bring that attention or that clout or name value to Shane Taylor Promotions. But I really like that you have a core group of guys who are they fresh faces, man, to the audience, fresh faces to some of these people that watch Ring of Honor on a weekly basis. I think that's a cool thing, and it's a good foundation to start off with.
Right, and that's the goal, man. Like, and that's what I'm saying. It's not about just me succeeding. It's about bringing everybody else with me, right? It's like I told them. I sit them down to my table, show them how to eat, let them eat, and give them the tools to go out there and build their own house, build their own table, and then invite others, show them how to eat. That's how we win collectively.
Mm.
Um, so that's exactly what this is. Um, and man, we are just getting started, just a little over a year into this, and Shane Taylor Promotions is the talk of the wrestling world. Just imagine what we're gonna do in the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we are gonna change this game.
Sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit. Like Ring of Honor, but they've been putting out like some really good content, man, since the reboot. The pure title tournament was legit one of my favorite things, man. I legit love that tournament. I think they mapped that out real well. I think they had the right participants in there. Like that was just that was some great wrestling right there. And then of course all the other things that you guys are putting out on the digital front. Of course the YouTube has gotten better. And of course the podcast that they got going on. And of course we've seen like the likes of AEW and Impact and AAA and New Japan all collaborate in some shape or form. And of course Ring of Honor everybody knows about the relationship that Ring of Honor has with New Japan. Like with the system that you guys have in place now, like with the ROH bubble, that whole thing that you guys got going on, and I think you guys have really been doing a really good job on your own, like without any partnerships. But I'm sure that like nobody is gonna be against anybody showing up on any different platform to further promote Ring of Honor. Like, do you think that guys that do you think like you
I don't,
guys do you think you guys are like is that something that you really need right now as far as like well need is a strong word, but like do you think that's something that you guys like really necessarily I'm gonna just say need because I like that's the only thing I can think of right now. But like it just seems like you guys are doing such a good job on your own. It's like, is it really necessary?
and you said it. You know what I mean? I've said for years that we have enough talent that we don't have to have a partnership with anybody else. We have enough talent, we have the skill to be on our own and do those things. Obviously, when you partner up with other companies, you're going to get dream matchups. It's great for business, it's great for the fans, all that stuff. As long as it truly helps Ring of Honor, I'm all for it. Usually, what happens is that's not the case. It helps the company that we're working with, but it doesn't really help us.
Mm.
Um, and so for me, my thing has always been we have the talent. Let's showcase our talent. Let's prove that it's not just, you know, whoever else was here and the rest of us. It's not just Big Brother here. Oh, and here's ROH. No, that's not what this is. We are the best wrestling on the planet. We are. You can take anybody's top 10, take our top 10, and I'd match them up in the ring or out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
it is what it is. So for me, that's always been a thing. So I don't think it's necessary. Would it be welcomed if it made business sense? I'm sure. Uh, But again, as long as it actually helped Ring of Honor, because if it doesn't, then what's the point?
All right. I think you hit the nail on the head right there, man. And then at that, man, y'all got two of the best over there, with Jay Lethal and Jonathan Gresham. Like that's the
Mm.
two of the best wrestlers in the world right there, man. I debate anybody on that. But before we last before we wrap it up here, Shane, like one thing I did want to talk to you about, something that you guys did last summer that I thought was really important was the Black Lives Matter roundtable. I watched that video. I know a couple of people that watched that video and they thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, what did it mean to you to, have Ring of Honor put that discussion out there on their platforms and just further discussion about race in America and how, African Americans have always been looked at and viewed at the bottom of the totem pole as far as like America's standpoint, and just the history of racism and discrimination in this country that kind of gets, but what they attempt to try to hide it from what it was, and especially coming out from the situation with George Floyd's killing. I feel like that really like sparked something in this country. Like it was really like I think that was like I think that's a part of history, honestly, that I don't think anybody will ever forget. Like that stretch, that time period. Like I can't remember like a time when I've seen so many black people like rally together, man. Like that was like it's sad that it had to come at the
Like Rad,
cost of another man, of another person losing his life. But at the same time, I felt like that was such a like powerful thing to see so many people come together. Like the last time I legit, I mean, and of course you see, and Shane, I'm sure you can attest to this. Like when you see or hear some of these stories about black people getting killed just for no reason, and we've seen countless stories, but like sometimes you see or you hear or you watch some of these videos and you kind of feel like numb to it a little bit because it's like you've seen it so often. It's kind of like, and not saying that you won't feel sad about it or you won't feel upset about it, but it's kind of like you're numb to it a little bit. And I remember the first time that I really experienced a feeling like that was it was when Trayvon Martin passed away, and I was in, I want to say I was like I want to say I was in 10th or 11th grade when that happened, and that was kind of like my first, like I think that was, for my generation, that was like the first time that we, like, our eyes really got open to what is going on in this country. And of course we've heard and we read the stuff about school, and you know what I'm saying, like you hear and you read about stuff, you hear from your folks and hear from people that have seen it firsthand. But like I feel like that Trayvon Martin situation, like that was legit the first time in my life when I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying, that's what's, you know what I'm saying, that's what's
you're
going, yeah, yeah, you know what I'm getting at. So yeah, I was gonna let
yeah,
you take it from there.
yeah, man. I mean, and that's, I mean, and I give credit to Ring of Honor for having uh the guts, for lack of a better word, to uh let us have that space, and let us speak freely about these things, because again, that's what innovation and progress in this sport looks like. Um, Too many people, too many companies talk about inclusion, talk about diversity, talk about what they want to do, and they just don't ever deliver on those promises. It all sounds good, but if you don't do anything behind it, then it's just words. Words without action are meaningless. So to have that discussion with people that I consider peers and friends, um, was absolutely incredible. And again, that goes to show um, the progress that we've made as a company, because a few years ago, you wouldn't have had that discussion. You know what I mean? But now we have the talent, we have the voices, um, we have the ability to say these things and use our platform and use our voices. And yeah, uh, I think with the George Floyd situation, what made it so jarring is usually there's some sort of feared for my life, uh, quick decision excuse that people can feel comfortable getting behind,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, oh, well, he didn't know. Well, it was dark. Well, who knows? Well, his hand was there, da da da. This was the first time that it blatantly looked like, okay, you're not in danger. You just killed that dude.
Mm.
And that's a hard thing to face, right? That's a hard thing to look away from without being affected by that. And I think that was sort of the like, yo, you're brazenly just doing it now, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was, I think that's what that feeling was, and that sparked something worldwide. You know what I mean? Um, and that's what sparked this whole thing. And it's disgusting to see so many people still try to excuse it and to make fun of it and things of that sort. But this is the ugliness that we're fighting. This is hundreds of years um, of systemic racism, nationalism, indoctrination, and propaganda now that has built such a cognitive dissonance in people's minds that they don't know anything other than this,
Mm-hmm.
right? I always tell people racism is so closely ingrained into the fabric of America
Yeah.
that I think that when you attack it, you're attacking the nation itself. And that's not what we're doing. And I explain to people, black people love this country more than it has ever loved us. We've fought in every war. We've invented things. We've changed culture. We move commerce forward
Every day. Every day.
every single day.
Like not the I want you to continue, but like
If you use a remote control, that's us. If you use a light bulb, that's not Thomas Edison. That's us.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? If you've ever needed open heart surgery or a heart transplant, you know what I mean? Like the when you drive, you know what I mean? The light, the traffic light,
mm,
us. The stuff for the smartphones, the video games, the first console, all these things, right? And we could go on and on and on and on and on about the innovation, about the soldiers that are lost to history, whose stories don't get told, that saved wars, right? People don't talk about these things. These things aren't taught in school. So you're only taught about what one side wants to hear or what one side wants you to know, right? So
right.
now that we're in an age where people are being told these other things and these other facts, you are challenging their reality, right? And that's what makes people so uncomfortable. That's what makes people feel like, oh, well, I'm just being attacked for the way I believe. Like, no, we're correcting you because you're wrong. Right?
Right.
You were taught your entire life that one and one is three. Every single day, you knew one and one was three, and I come and tell you it's two. You're gonna think I'm lying, right? But then once I sit down and show you mathematically why it's two, show you where they lied and told you it was three, knowing it was two, once you still want to believe that it's three, then we have a problem,
Mm.
right? Because being ignorant is one thing, being willfully ignorant is another. Um, and there's just so many willfully ignorant people. But that's why it's so important um, to continue to have not only the tough conversations with people that you know, uh, but for anybody with any voice and any platform to continue to stand and represent correctly and use their voice to further change, because that's the only way we're going to be able to do it is together.
Mm. Like so one thing, like while we on the topic, like I was curious to get your thoughts about this, because this is a situation that happened, I want to say like 2 months after the George Floyd situation, and I feel like this was one of the like more low key, like shining examples of racism in America. And it was kind of like I just couldn't get myself to like the point where it was just crazy how like similar these situations were, but
Mm-hmm.
one involved a black person and one involved a white person. And I'm pretty sure you've heard the story about Kyle Rittenhouse, the dude from last summer who
Oh
shot
yeah,
the people at the Black Lives Matter protest. I'm pretty sure you've heard about that, right?
yeah.
So there in where I'm from, in this DMV area in DC, there was a young dude named Dion K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he so I'm pretty, so just to clarify, if anybody listening to this, Kyle Rittenhouse was a white male. He shot, and I think he killed somebody. At a killed two people at the Black Lives Matter protest, and he had an assault rifle and walked right past the police. Like literally, you get this videos like online.
Them after shooting
Yeah,
them, walk.
yeah. After shooting them, literally walked right past the police like it was nothing. And they, like I'm talking about, they didn't jump out at the dude. Like you had people who were standing across the street from the gas station yelling at the police like, "Hey, that's the dude who just shot these two people. Like, what are y'all doing?" And
Right.
we got that whole situation right there. And in DC, there was this young dude named Dion K. Right, and this is just was so eerie about this whole situation. Right, Kyle Rittenhouse on Facebook, pictures of him, guns, posted up with his friends, yada yada yada, right? He's a patriot, right? You got this young
Mm-hmm.
dude, Kyle Rittenhouse, a young dude, Dion K. Literally the same situation. He had his pictures online of him, flashing what he had, and you know what they label him as, Shane, of course. And like
Oh,
and it was yeah, and basically what happened was, um, I guess the police must have tracked him down or something like that, and he had his gun on him, and they hopped out the car and they chased him, right? And what he did was, it was literally clear as day in the footage. Like anybody could go check this out. When he was running from him, he took his gun and he chucked it. Like he tried to take it out and chuck it while he was running. I guess so they wouldn't, I obviously don't know what was going.
with the gun and shoot him automatically.
Right,
Right.
yeah. He chucked the gun that he had, and then I'm talking about before he even got out of his hand, they had already shot him. I don't even think he was running. The cop who shot him, I don't think he was even running in his direction. And it was just it was crazy to, like, because that's those two situations literally happened like within the same week. And it
Right.
was crazy how like eerie it was, like, to see those two situations happen, and they literally the exact same thing. But Kyle Rittenhouse killed two people. Dion K didn't kill anybody. He just had a gun on him. But yet he's the one that quote unquote deserves to die, right? And the one that deserves to be shot, and the one that deserves to be chased. But you got this dude walking around with an assault rifle that's not even legal in the state, probably. But he got
And he's not from the state that he's in.
right. That too. So yeah, I just wanted to, like, I always listen. I always like hearing your opinions on race. 'Cause I feel like you always break down situations real well. So I just wanted to, like, kind of get your thoughts now that I kind of put the information out there to you.
It's at this point, man, it's you have people who choose not to see these things and who, for like, no matter what, will not see it, and there's no getting to them. You know what I mean? But there has always been a double standard here, right? From Birth of a Nation painting us as, you know, the evil black men who are going to come and rape your wives and daughters and steal your jobs and do all this stuff.
Mm.
People have been convinced that black people are like, whatever is wrong in their life, it's because of black people, right? They're poor because of black people. They get the opportunities that they should get because of black people. Like, really, and it's the ruling class above you that doesn't give a damn about you or us. That is the reason why you don't have these things, but they've convinced you that it's us. Um, and man, it's just to the point now where there's so many lies, there's so much misinformation, especially with social media now. Uh, People just, you know what I mean, like they're just lazy now. They're lazy. They don't want to see things the way they are. They want to be comfortable in their ignorance because there's no work required for that. They don't have to change for that. Um, and it's upsetting, because we have to see ourselves die every single day, and all we're asking for, it isn't. And I heard it summed up beautifully. It's like, we're not asking you to shoot them the way you shoot us. We're just asking you to not shoot us the way you don't shoot them.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's all we're asking for is equality, not favoritism, not, special treatment. We just want our lives to be held in the same regard, with the same care, with the same thought that you do our counterparts, right? If you look at Kyle Rittenhouse and you don't see a criminal, why do you look at the other young man that you mentioned and see one?
Mm.
What is it about him that makes you think he's a criminal, or what is it about you that makes you think he's a criminal,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, and once people start answering those questions, then they start to learn about themselves. But the scary part about that is once you start telling people the truth and they start seeing these things, they realize they're not as good a person as they thought they were,
Mm.
right? And that's a scary thing, right? Because you're talking to people, 30s, 40s, 50s who have lived this way their entire lives, and now they're learning that they don't even know who they are, So we've got to understand the game that we're playing. We've got to understand that the rules are rigged. We've got to understand that we have to move differently.
Mm.
Should it be that way? Absolutely not. But that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Um, and until we are taking huge strides forward to change it, but until it is changed completely, we need to be on guard and be looking out for each other and making sure that we're all playing this game and we're all making it across the finish line.
It is, man. It is. I highly recommend everybody go check out that ROH, the Black Lives Matter roundtable that's up on their YouTube channel. Anybody can go watch it. I highly recommend that, man. So go check that out. Shane, as always, man, this is my second time getting to do an interview with you. It's always a good time, man. Always a pleasure talking to you. I always come away from our interviews, our two interviews together, like with some type of information or like knowledge or just some, just some wisdom, man. So it's always good to be able to talk to you, man. And I appreciate you, taking the time to do this. I'm becoming one of those people that's trying to, even the people that's, that's close to me, like family and friends, like to just, what I'm saying, tell people, give them their flowers per se, or just tell people that you care about
Right.
them and stuff like that. So yeah, I just want to tell you, man, like I've been seeing your career over the past several years or so, and like it's been real cool to see the progression and real cool to see you make these strides and get to the level that you attain to be at. So yeah, I'm happy for your success, and it's always cool to see, and I'm looking forward to see what you do in the next 3 to 4 or 5 or however many years that you keep going. So yeah, man, just thank you for your time, and thank you for everything that you're doing. So yeah, shout out to you, man.
Hey man, thank you, and I wish you nothing but continued success, health, and happiness for you and your family. Yeah, man, we're just gonna keep rocking and hopefully build this thing into something that, future generations can look to and go, that's ours. You know what I mean? And really change this game to what it can be and provide as many opportunities as possible.
There we go. Now, Shane, I got one request, just one request. When this pandemic is over, I need the in-person interview.
Let's get it.
There
Easy work.
we go. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, oh yeah. Firstly, Shane, before we sign off here, please tell people they can follow you on social media. Once again, reiterate your upcoming big 2 weeks that you got coming up. Please share that information,
Right,
social
right.
media, all that.
So of course, Twitter and Instagram at Shane216Taylor. Make sure you check out ROHWrestling.com as well as the ROH YouTube. That's Ring of Honor Wrestling. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, they are going to have and showcase the baddest weekend of all time. It's 48 hours of my journey through ROH from my debuts all the way through my final battle match with Jay Briscoe, the ups and downs, the highs and lows. If you really wanted to know or catch up on who I am and what I've been doing there, that would be the time to do it. February 20th, uh, they will be showcasing on ROH TV. Myself, Khan, and Moses, Shane Taylor Promotions, challenging Mexa Squad, Flamita, Bandito, and Ray Horace for the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championship. On February 27th, it will be myself, the baddest of all time, the baddest champion you've ever seen. Boy, Shane Taylor taking on Ring of Honor World Champion ROH to try to make history that only one other man like myself has made. Um, so three very big events coming up, and it is an exciting time to be in Shane Taylor Promotions right now.
There we go. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this interview. I am Andrew Thompson of the Andrew Thompson Interviews YouTube channel, signing off with your future Ring of Honor World
Yes.
Heavyweight Champion, Shane Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Peace.